Welcome to the next edition of Urban TV. We're at FENLAND Fisheries in deepest, darkest Cambridgeshire, and I'm here with Adam Garland, and we've got a couple of days fishing. So let's go and get the gear out of the van, get the swim, show you what I'm doing, and then go and see Adam and see how he's going to approach it. See you in a minute. Right, I managed to get the rods out nice and early. Chosen 3 spots, spent a bit of time, just the lead, pinging out till I felt just the right drop, just not too hard, just the back of like a harder gravelly patch in the silt. Found 3 spots, clipped them up, walked them out with the wraps, clipped them, made a note on my iPhone how many wraps each rod was. Managed to stick out a good few spods of 12mm nutcracker, but it'd been marinated, so it's with the liver cracker powder and the nutcracker glug. I'm going to show you that in a minute, show you how I marinate me freebies. Works really well this time of year, all time of year really, but especially this time of year, and especially on a hard, busy day ticket lake like we're at the moment. What I'll do is just before dark also, I'll be pinging out a spray of 12mm out there. I've concentrated my spod on the 3 spots. Then I'll put a spray to get the fish moving about and feeding and homing in on those spots. And I'll fish a little 12mm washed out white nutcracker pop up on those 3 spots as well. So I've got them out nice and early. Hopefully we've got a bit of rain coming tonight. Hopefully we have a couple of fish to show you, or a fish, and we're going to have a chat with Adam as well, who's in the next swim, see how he's going to approach the couple of days that we've got, and if it's different to how I'm doing it, which I'm sure it is, because Adam fishes a bit different to me, and we'll see you in a minute. Right, I'm going to talk to you about marinating your hook baits. Real big edge in my fishing, and lots of the guys at Urban who do fish some hard waters and fish like day ticket waters as well. You've got to be one step ahead of the fish and the other anglers. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to marinate some 12mm nutcracker, but you can use any size, 15mm, 18mm, any bait really, and we're going to marinate it with the glug, nutcracker glug, and the liver cracker powder. Now, especially this time of year when we're doing this film, winter time, the liver, the carp, they just really need it. You know, they really like it, they really need it. All the amino acids, all the nutrients in that liver powder, the fish just home in on it. And what we do is, about 24 hours to 48 hours before you're due to go fishing, I get a bag of the bait I'm going to use. I mean, you can use this with the red spicy fish, or you can do it with the tuna and garlic as well. I'm just using the nutcracker for the time of year, and it works really well at this time of year, or any time of year. And we get the 12mm nutcracker. First thing I do is I like to do a big batch at a time, like 5 or 10 kilo at a time. So I've got plenty, so you stick it in the freezer once it's all marinated. So I get my 5 kilo bag, and I get another bag, and I tip half in there. You know, I tip half in, so then we've got something to work with. With a big 5 kilo bag like that, a big old bag like that, you're not going to be able to coat everything effectively. You're not going to be able to get all the liver cracker powder, all the glug on there, all the liquids that you want to stick in there. You're not going to be able to do it. So I split it up into 2 bags, 2.5 kilos each. You can split it into 5 1 kilo bags. It's up to you really. So, and I do them both at the same time. And so 24 hours, 40 hours before you're due to go fishing, split the bags. The first thing you do, you want to coat your freebies with the liquid of choice, the nutcracker glug. The good thing about the glug and the liver cracker powder is you can't overdo it. So it's no, you've got to put in 100mm or you've got to put in 10mm per kilo. You just want to coat the hook baits. So first thing to do, just give it a good dash like that. Give it a good, real good real good. I love it. A real good shake up, a real good, you know, real get the coating going. Until you've coated all of the freebies. There we go, like that. There we go, all coated, all lovely. Let them stand for about 5-10 minutes, let them soak in a little bit. Do that with the other bag, but we'll do this bag first. And then, once it's all sucked in, and you put enough of the glug on there, get your liver cracker powder. Real good bit of kit, a nice little edge. And again, you can't overdo it. You just want to put enough in so it coats it, changes the colour of the bait, sucks in all that goodness out of liver cracker powder. I mean, in the summertime, I use a salmon oil and the nutcracker glug, mix it in together, and it just goes in all the water column, attracts the fish to your spot. So you put the nutcracker powder in, a bit like that, probably about a quarter of a tub, I reckon. Okay, give it a real good shake. You know, spend some time doing it, so you're going to evenly coat them all over. If you think there's not enough in there, just put a little bit more in. Like I said, you can't overdo it. There we go, give them a good shake, coat them all over, do both bags. And then what I'll do is I'll leave that for 24 hours and I'll pick it up on the way out when I'm going fishing for a couple of days. And what will happen is it will change, everything will get sucked in, that liver cracker powder will coat it and the glug will suck it in. And here's a difference, look, there's what I've done already. See the colour difference? For the ones that have been marinated for 24 hours, these are about 48 hours, these ones, they've turned real dark with the liver powder sucked into it. Like that, it's absolutely lovely, you know. And what that will do is that will kick up, stick that out when you get there. You know, I like to put up about 2 kilo bed out, spread it all out, and it's kicking out all that goodness of all that glug and of the liver powder up into the water column. Any passing fish will go, oh, look at that, lovely, have some of that, and it will really enhance your catch rate immensely. You know, it has for mine over the years, using different liquids with the liver powder, but it's a real good edge, especially on busy day ticket waters where you're looking for that edge, or real difficult waters where the fish are just, you know, they can pick up any bait. You want to make yours stand out and give them something they really need. Right, I managed to get myself all sorted out, so I've come down to see how Adam's approaching our little 2-day session that we've got. Normally, Adam only does overnighters, so it's a bit of a luxury, isn't it, to have a couple of nights. But I know you've been targeting this water and you've been catching a few. I think you had the 27, didn't you, last trip, and the 25, was it? 26, yeah. And the 26. So you've been nicking a few. And it's quite a difficult little water. So what I'm quite interested in, because you've got a couple of days, how's your approach really sort of changed? What are you doing different? So tell us what sort of spot you're fishing and what you're putting out there.
It's changed because I turned up yesterday, bit of time on my hands, so I was able to have a good walk around the lake and actually choose a swim, whereas usually when I turned up, the sort of 4 or 5 been on, sort of it's where you can fit in the area. I've been lucky because most of the trips I've done have been this end of the lake, and that's where I started, and that's where I started catching from. But having a good look round, I have found that the different types of spots, there's a lot of gravel out there, but there's also some nice clay. There's less clay than gravel, but the clay spots tend to do me more fish than the gravel.
So that's where you've been getting your bites.
That's where I've been getting the bites, yeah. Off the edge of the gravel spots, just where it starts to go glassy. And I managed to find a nice area out here. When I put the float out and walk around the other side, it's actually not a million miles away from where I've been catching from. Bites, so it's a really nice area, and it's also, with it, the owner Mike's told me several times now that the fish tend to congregate out in the middle the colder it gets.
Yeah, I suppose it's like most lakes that all of us fish. It comes the sort of winter time, and they either go in the snags or they go to the middle of the lake, don't they? Yeah. So you're sort of hitting both sort of areas. You're on the edge of where you've been getting a few bites, and where Mike has been said this is where they sort of turn up as it gets a bit colder. The temperature's definitely dropped a bit these last couple of days, but we've had such a mild winter. you know. But it'd be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days with like my approach and your approach. So what have you put out there on your spot? Because I know you fish very tight together, all 3 rods.
I've put them all 3 really tight together. I've put out a good bed of nutcracker. I've used the 12 mils, which I've now finally got hold of. Thank you for bringing those for me. I've got crushed nutcracker, the 14s, as well as some holes as well. There's a bit of glug in there in the mix as well, to go with it. A few nutcracker pellets, and then what I've also done is I've used the stick mix.
Right, okay, so you're doing a sort of like a mix covering all sort of avenues, all like the pellet, the small baits, the chopped baits, the stick mix with the glugs. You get a bit of a cloud.
Yeah,
I can see where you're coming from with that. Yeah, definitely a nice sort of little, put that down on your spot. And then what are you fishing over, what your hook baits you're fishing over the top of that?
Over the top of that I'm using snowman rig, with the hard hook bait, with the topper with the 12 mil washed out white, but I'm also using a wafter on one as well, just something a bit different.
What did you say, wafter?
Wafter.
Is that what you say up north, is it? We say wafters down south. Yeah.
It's a wafter. It's definitely a wafter. Okay. So I've got one of those out as well, just something a little bit different. And I've also been creating my own by taking the barrel, the nutcracker barrel, drilling out a little bit, putting a bit of cork in it, and then making it just like a critically balanced barrel, so it just sits off the hook.
So with the wafters that you use, or wafters, are you critically balancing those as well, or you're hard, or you?
Yeah, they're really good. They already, with a size 6 trapper hook, they already pretty much balance anyway. But the ones that I'm making myself, just a little bit of cork, and I have it so the hook sits flat and it just sits just off it, and it's a bit of a mouthful for them with it being that shape.
Yeah, I can see it. It's a little bit different to the normal of what they probably see anyway. Because on quite a busy water, they must see the same thing quite a lot. That's why I've sort of done a different approach with the marinated hook baits out. They're giving off, and you're covering it with lots of different size baits on a tight area where I've spread mine. So we'll see what sort of happens there. So are you putting? I know on the phone you were saying that you're with the stick mix. The way you do your stick mix, you add the stick mix and you grind up the nutcracker, and you add the glug in, then you use a little stock in, and you use that as like to home in even further on that spot with your 3 rods. Well, I think what you're going to do, you're going to show us how you actually.
We can do that.
We'll run through that in a minute and show. So give a little bit of one of your little edges that people can use themselves, make up, and just give it a go, sort of thing. So it'd be interesting to see over the next couple of days that we've got. What happens really. It's a bit different to your normal fitting where you can, and set up in the dark and then go in the morning to work and all that. I suppose it's a bit of a luxury, isn't it? It's a bit of
it is, I'm not used to it. It's a bit different.
Spooking you out a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You normally wouldn't be here by now, and then you'd be going, sort of thing, But so what we'll do is we'll run through Adam's stick mix.
So as mentioned before, this is the stick mix that I've been using. Because I've been using the mini Spod to put out the majority of my bait, I've got small parcels of bait going all over the place, and what I'm trying to do with the stick mix is replicate that, so as the fish come in, it's just another little pile of bait. So to start with, we take the stick mix, add some of that in there. Depends really how much you want to make. I've gone for about 1/3 of a bag to start with. Pop that out of the way. And then we've got some of the nutcracker pellets. Not too many because they'll affect the mix. Those out of the way. Give that a little bit of a mix. So the pellets will break down at different times to the rest of the stick mix, leaving larger food items there. And then what we do is take some nutcracker. These are the 14 mil. There we go. And then take the crusher. Now, these have just defrosted, so they're nice and soft, really easy to crush up. A little tip that I do when I'm at home is I pop them in the microwave just for a couple of minutes, sometimes not even a minute, and it just softens them nicely, so that when you stick them in the crusher, they're really easy to do. And you can also use your blender if your missus will let you. So crush that up, bit of that in there, let's have a little look. Give it a mix, bit more. really get it into like a powder with just a few larger bits in there so it compacts down nice and tight. Like that. Just make sure there's nothing too big in there that's going to affect the mix too much. And then take the liquid, this is the Nutcracker liquid, and add that as you go. And this is where you're going to get your hands a little bit messy, but it does smell nice. Give it a good mix up, just so you can get it into some kind of consistency, so you can start to shape it a little bit. Okay, a little bit more. That should do it. So if we give it another mix, you can see that it's mixing nicely. You want it loose enough so it breaks down, so as soon as the PVA dissolves, it's a nice little cloud, but at the same time you don't want it too loose that it won't compact down. There we go. That's about perfect. Caped in it, so take your PVA and then I've been using them fatter rather than longer. I just find they tend to fly a little bit better. Then take your stick, compact it right down, give it a good squeeze, holding the bottom of it as well to make sure it's not coming out the bottom too much. And then as you push it through, there you go, you can see you've got a fairly fat stick there. And then if you take out it should all stay in one piece. As you tie it off, like so, and then tie it down. You want to get it fairly tight, obviously not to waste PVA as well. There we go, just like that, and then just trim it off, and there we have one stick.
Well, it's about 10 to 11 and I'm just having my last cup of tea before I turn in for the night. I just started getting a few liners on all three rods really. They're spread out there, and I've heard a couple of fish bosh as well, so I reckon hopefully between me and Adam, who's next door, that we might be in for a bite. So let's hope so anyway. Let's hope we've got something to show you in the morning.
you call it? Urban.